Good, good, good. Alrighty, I think we're ready to go here at 6:38 a.m. It's kind of chilly this morning. It's probably about freezing downtown. It's a little bit warmer up here, but not much. I have from a 9 to 11 degree temperature difference between where I live here on this hill and down where the temperature, the official temperature is measured. I think it's at the airport. It's down on the flat. Well, this is, it's just going to be cold. It's a little colder than usual, quite honestly. Can I get it? Damn it. I was going to run. I wanted to run it, y'all. I really did want to run it. Wow, that's interesting. It's this cold and it's cloudy. That is real atypical. Typically around here, we have kind of a desert climate. So when there's no clouds in the sky, it gets a lot colder. But today, kind of weird. We must just have a cold air mass that has descended upon us. Because there are still people talking about snow, getting snow just up a little north of us. And a day like today, we could be getting snow up in the mountains. Well, maybe we'll get some. It'll be interesting to see. Because that's where we're headed. Heading to Fraser today. I don't know which route I want to take. The most direct route is over Rabbit Ears and then south through Kremmling. I haven't done that route in a while. I don't like that route because I'm just so used to it, jaded. Oh, the heat's nice. Go. That. This. I'm doing my pre turnaround distance check. What I mean is, once I get so far out of town, if I've forgotten something, it's the further out of town I get, the more important that thing is gonna have to be before I get it. Anyway, it's 6:47 a.m. We're in Craig. It's June 18th. Cold morning. It'll get warm pretty quick, though. I expect it will anyway. Maybe not. The high is supposed to be 70 today. That's substantially lower than regular. June 18th ought to be around here. Should be between somewhere in the 80s or 90s. A typical June day. Anyway, we are in the steamboat work crowd of cars. I've got a bunch of vehicles behind me already, and they have a bunch of vehicles in front. Let me go ahead and get a little bit of I'll put my cruise on. See what the traffic holds for us today. I'm really not in a big rush. This traffic is going good. Hell, maybe even if it isn't, I'm not in a big rush. I have a few ways I could go. Actually, several ways I could go. Typically, depending on the weather, the season and the weather, it's nice to have so many ways to get to Fraser. There are two ways that I can get to Fraser by going through Steamboat over Rabbit Ears. And there are at least two ways I can get to Fraser. Did I say get to Steamboat? If I did, I meant get to Fraser. And there are two ways that I can get to Fraser if I turn at Hayden and go down 20 Mile Road. And I really like that drive. I haven't been there for a while. It's very tempting. And so, but if I go down south, I could go either down Gore Pass or through Gore Pass, crossing the mountain range that I need to cross to get into that valley. Colorado River Valley. I could even go down further on Highway 131 to the Trough Road. I really love that route. It's a very nice route. And it doesn't really matter which way I go. I won't. Because I don't charge my company for the extra time or the extra mileage, so I don't really care which way I go. I mean, if I want to, it doesn't matter. And that's really one of the nicest things about working for this company. Is that it just doesn't matter. Right now I'm leaning towards going on 20 Mile. I haven't been on 20 Mile lately. Oh yeah. I might have to do that. I've got a really cool little road that I can show you. might be a fitting, this might actually be a fitting video, sort of bookcase type. I have some thoughts running around in my head about this. But I'm not in a big hurry. Traffic is a little bit slower than 65. We're doing 63, but I don't have any, I don't care. I don't care today. I'll tell you, I'm just happy that I don't have a gigantic star, a cracked windshield I've got to replace. This windshield's 4 months old. So I really wanted to save it. I can turn the heat down a little bit now. Getting nice and warm in here. I have not put out a video lately. I've talked about it before. I have one channel that's been throttled for, well, since 2019. For about a moment in time, a couple of years ago, that channel got opened up and it got popular overnight. And I made a couple $1,000s on the views of that channel. And it was like in a month or two. Then they shut it down again. They just shut it down. Like somebody was walking through somebody's, you know, whatever, and they just happened to flip a switch that uncensored my channel, and holy crap, I was getting a lot of views. It was kind of nice. But then they fixed it. They've got it squelched down again. I could put a video out, and at this point in time now, I can't get 100 views out of my video, even having it out there for 3 weeks. And my biggest videos got, I think it's like 2.3 million views. And I had several with you know, 10s and 20s thousands of views that would have probably gone on to be bigger videos. I've actually deleted some of them. I've just been disgusted with what YouTube did. And anyway, so I understand that YouTube is muting my channel heavily. They're muting it hard right now. And I think they're just panicked that any conservative talk, other than the few big ones that they let through, like they let Timcast through, they let Crowder through, and there are some other people that they let through. God damn it! That fucking sheriff threw a rock on me. God damn! That one doesn't look like a bad one, but it's not good. Son of a bitch. I don't get it. I'm all right, I don't want this to wreck my mood. Here's the thing. Every time a fucking little tiny chip hits a windshield nowadays, it's at least $50. That one does look like a like it actually, I mean, it chipped. It's definitely broke the surface of my window, but I don't see, there might be one star in it. God damn it. We'll look at it here in a little while. Fuck it. I'm just gonna order it. I can get a kit that I carry in the car that if I get a chip, hit a hit like that, I can stop right on the side of the fucking road and fix it. And windshields are damn expensive. That kit I think is about $100, but I think it has 5. I think you get 5 treatments with it. So I'm gonna look into that. This is bullshit. When I look at how much money I spend on windshields on this car, on my cars, doing this job. Now I get compensated. But still, every time I get a fucking chip, nowadays it's a $50. Well, I'm cranky. Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna rise above it. Now, if I get another chip, I will have a temper tantrum. So the river's right next to us. It's running reasonably high. It was running higher last week, the week before. It's still running pretty high. There's still like large amounts of snow up in the high country that needs to come down. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn on 20 mile. I'll do that. That's going to be yeah. Interesting thought. On Highway 40, I got this chip yesterday that I had to fix. Today, I now got the little star, or a little divot. I don't think it's a star. I think I got lucky on that one. In fact, I think the majority of the stars that I get are from Highway 40. Now, I do drive 40 quite a bit, but I don't know, in reality, I probably drive Interstate 80 more than I drive Highway 40. I wonder. It's interesting. It's just a thought in my head. Maybe I want to start hating on Highway 40. I don't know. Yeah, we're going to do that. We'll do it. So Hayden's got some new apartments. Back up a little bit. Right here, the road work and the sidewalk work was finished. This area was blocked for a few weeks while they were doing the work here. There's a lot of apartments there. Now, I don't know if they're for the criminal aliens or if they're for the citizens, but knowing this is the state of Colorado, there's a really good chance that they're not for the citizens. Now, I haven't talked politically in a while, and I've got a subject that I'd kind of like to talk about. but I don't have a script, and I'm not sure how to start it or end it. But I thought I'd give it a try today, and so I'm thinking about talking about the. I've talked about it before, but I've kind of got some specific points I'd like to hit. Oh, I missed. I was going to take a different turn. I was going to take you up on the hill, south of Hayden, over to our right, but I missed my turn off, so I'll do the next best thing. I will turn right here. We'll take the cemetery road. Well, I've been, like I said, my channel is throttled heavily. It's not something that, I don't think YouTube likes driving channels very much anyway. I do. I like driving channels. But I know YouTube doesn't like political stuff. But having said that, again, and I have to say this every time I talk about this, my original channel was not political. My original channel was about building stuff. The only thing that they could have hated about it was it's pretty low quality filming. Was a white guy showing people how to do things, how to take things on themselves and do things. And I think that in the racist leftist mentality of the mentally impaired left, intentionally mentally impaired left, a white guy doing anything useful is apparently extremely offensive and racist. Apparently. Anyway, so we are now dropping over here. We're on the south side of Hayden. Little subdivision that has been growing pretty heavily. And I got something in my eye. I'm gonna have to take my contact out. Well, I'll try to blink it out. I wear contacts, so I keep a little kind of a kit with me. There we go. Try this. While I'm at it, I want to take a look at that star, but let's get it. Boric acid powder and distilled water into a weak acidic solution, so that I've got an eye wash. Because sometimes I can just wash these things out of my eye. And a weak boric acid solution is something that people have been using for an eye wash for a long time. I think the government, in its quote-unquote wisdom has decided that boric acid is extremely dangerous and you can't use it anymore. Well, I think the government can go fuck themselves, and I'm going to use it. Not only that, but I have skin cancer, which, by the way, that's not just a white guy thing. I've heard racist woke people make fun of white guys, white people for getting skin cancer, like they think that's funny. Well, to begin with, anyone who would do that is fucking retarded, fucking evil, and so I'm not surprised that wokies on the left do shit like that. They are evil people. They really are. There's certainly a morality gap between conservatives and, let's see, yeah, this is what I want. Yeah, I haven't been up this road for a long time, my friends. This is County Road 30, this is the original 37. I really want to do this a little bit further. Get the perspective right. Anyway, that was my tier one response to a junk in my eye, and it worked. I'm happy about that. That worked really well, and I'm happy that hit that I took, that rock hit, was just a chip, not a star. And we're driving by the shooting range here south of Hayden. Pretty nice one. Done a nice job. We're going to be driving. Yeah, we'll be driving by a big one today. Between Kremmling and Granby. The gigantic shooting range. The mountains that we're looking at right now are the Williams Fork Mountains. They run in the sort of an east-west direction all the way from Craig, pretty much all the way to Steamboat. They eventually blend into the flat tops, especially the Dunkley flat tops. The flat tops are some pretty cool mountains that we'll see here in a little while, or that I'll drive by in a little while. Whether I'll be making a video there or not, I don't know. But the Dunkley flat tops are a lower mesa. The flat tops are a taller mesa. They're up in the 12s, I believe. The high points. Dunkley is in the 9,000 area. And that's kind of where these hills will, they give away to the Dunkley flat tops. But I love this little road. I don't know, maybe it's not accessible anymore. It's been a long time. It is beautiful up here too, by the way. Look at the green, man. It is just gorgeous. So, much happier. Much better. Chilly up here too. We do get snow. Oh, I think we're good. I see a tractor up there. I believe this is another 37, like 37B or something like that. Go by this. Boy, I like that building. That's a beautiful outfit. I'd love to have that. A little big for my Craig. Here's a Pyrenees. It's a nice dog. Wow, and I can look over on the horizon and see the Zergles. Or what would that be? Which way are we looking? Looking east. Huh. That must be the Elkhead range. Huh. You saw it maybe for a second. It was beyond the it was up on the horizon. Of course, today's kind of cloudy. Might have missed it. Now Google's telling me I need to turn left, but I'm going to even leave my signals out and turn right. 51B, go. You know, my channel is Backroads of Colorado, and sometimes I'm on main roads of Colorado, like I-70, or main road through Wyoming, I-8, you know. So it's nice that I'm able to get on an actual, pretty dusty, for that matter, back road. Right, beautiful. I can see Black Mountain over to our left. Bears Ears. Those mountains, you can see them from miles and miles in Wyoming and in Colorado. And it's interesting, you know. They do look different enough from different angles that it helps to have seen them a few times. That way you can sort of recognize them better when you're looking at them from a different angle, especially if it's a really, really different angle. Bears Ears being one of the mountains that if you look at it 90 degrees, it looks like one little butte kind of a thing sticking up. Then you shift 90 degrees from that position and it's two buttes sticking up. So it makes a big difference. And there are some really pretty canyon cuts over here. We're looking at, well, you probably can't see all that. There's some really cool canyon cuts that are over to the east of 20 Mile Road, which you can find on your map. 20 Mile Road starts east of Big Bird. Is that a big bird? Big Bird. Eagle? What? Good God. Definitely the kind of bird, if you're a rabbit, you don't want to see that bird. You don't want that bird to see you, when more to the point. That hillside that we're looking at, that's the horizon right now. There are a bunch of really cool stepped canyons, step walls in there, just really neat looking country. There was a coal mine up over on that. Actually, there are coal mines everywhere around here. There are coal mines over to our right and to our left right now. So there's just a huge amount of coal in this area still. Much better. My eye feels better. Yeah, that wasn't a chip, so I'm happy. I might fill it with a bit of epoxy. Anyway, we're not really taking a shortcut, and in the sense of a shortcut, we're not saving any time, and we're not saving any miles. Well, we might be saving a couple miles on this road. It's just that this is such a nice, cool little road. I mean, we can get more back roads. Believe me, I've had this Jeep on some back roads. I've had this Jeep up the top of Mount Antero. I've camped up there. That used to be a pretty common thing that I would do. Now, those are the mountains that I was talking about. Let's see if I can swing over and show you those mesas. Kind of off. Yeah, they're sort of off in the distance there, but you can see how they're basically serrated. You know, they're really cool drop canyons. The river came down, or whatever did it, the land rose, whatever broke them off at different points, different spots. It's very neat. I'll back up a little bit here. This is a really big country. So this goes to a mine, this road, this intersection. And this looks like a brand new cattle guard. Or I just don't remember it. I think it might be a brand new cattle guard. Oh yeah, there's been some dirt work in here. Looks like, you know, looks like they did some post runoff work, which doesn't surprise me. This place is like a big soggy sponge when the snow starts melting in the spring. And that wasn't long ago. That was just a few weeks ago. So, but I've been busy. I've been working in other areas, and I've kind of forgotten about this area. I've been down in for the last, well, for all of late winter and early spring. I've been going down to southern Colorado every week. I haven't done anything up this direction. So this is really my first, I believe this is my first opportunity to be on this road for a while. Well, this is pretty. So what I was thinking about today was I'm considering taking my political opinions to Twitter, and I've actually been doing that for the last few months. I've been hitting it pretty hard and looking at growing a presence on Twitter. And I've ran across a few people on Twitter, had some interesting experiences, but my main objective, I think, on Twitter, it seems like my best use, or maybe the best thing I can do as a citizen on Twitter. There we go. So now we are on 131, y'all. Or no, I'm sorry, we're on 20 Mile Road. We're not on 131 yet. We're on County Road 27, which also, AKA 20 Mile. Anyway, and we're heading probably southeast right now. Yep. And probably south. And what I was talking about, just to change the subject for a second, Dunkley Flat Tops is sort of behind the mountains that we're looking at right now. In the background, though, the snow-covered mountains, that is the actual, those are the flat tops. Trapper Lake, you know, that area. Trapper's Lake in that area. But I just wanted to kind of finish that thought, because we're still looking at the Williams Fork Mountains, these nice green mountains, like I said, but further up and behind it, it starts to morph into the flat tops area. And who knows how many other names those mountains have, because apparently Colorado and Wyoming have several different names for the same ranges. So I'm finding. So I've been getting on. Put that heat back on. Oh, I'll put it on heat. I've been getting on X, and I have been contesting the climate doom that runs rampant on X. These climate doomers get on there and they lie so much. It's amazing to me, the lies they're getting away with telling people. And at the same time, the same group of people, the government and the media, who talk about the disinformation that they have got to stop because it's destroying democracy, right? The bullshit that those people are talking about. Those people agree with these climate doomer bullshitters. The disinformation is coming from the left. And anybody that tells the truth is considered, I mean, you know, it's just typical communism. It's the typical push for communism. That's what communists do. They demonize their enemies. They lie about their enemies. They loved to telegraph onto their enemies the exact things they are doing, and that's what these communists are doing. And it is a communist push. It has nothing to do with climate, has nothing to do with weather. It has everything to do with communism. So in that sense, I'm getting on, and I'm beating up on the climate doomers pretty hard. And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people doing it. In fact, it looks to me like a climate doomer. Now things have changed. Elon Musk has bought Twitter, and Elon Musk allows, there's some caveats to that, but Elon Musk allows a differing opinion. I will say this, I noticed that my channel now, when I talk about climate stuff, it appears to be getting throttled pretty heavily. So there are still people in Twitter that are putting their thumb on the scales behind Elon Musk's back. I have to believe that that's the case, because I don't think Elon Musk would stand for the kind of bullshit that I'm seeing. I've heard other people talk about it, and I'm experiencing it myself right now on Twitter. But I still think Twitter is worth the trouble. X, I think it's worth the trouble. We'll see. It may not be. But I met a few interesting people on there. Well, when I say met, that's not really true. I have ran across their posts, and I follow them, and I read their posts a little bit, and I probably have commented on their posts, but they probably don't even know I exist, because I'm just one of the crowd right now, and that's fine, because the crowd at this point is, I see a balloon up in Steamboat. Oh, today would be a good day for ballooning because it's such a cold morning. You can really get some altitude today. That's why I can see a balloon up over the horizon. Over to our left is Steamboat. So that's why I can see a balloon over in that direction. So anyway, a few people worth noting, and there are more, but just a few people worth noting. Steve Milloy, I think Molloy, is a pretty vocal critic of the climate panic crowd. I like his posts. He puts up a lot of research with what he has to say, typically, and so that's nice. I think he's made some inroads. The Doomers hate him. They hate him. It's funny. Of course, the Doomers sort of recognize me. They hate me too. They put me on a couple of their little Doomer lists, but my sister Sue told me how to get off of off of their lists, and it works. It's funny. So I don't care. I don't really care if I'm on one of their lists, but that's one of the things these communists will do to you to scare you. We're putting you on a list. We know who you are. That's basically what they're saying. We know who you are. We're watching you. Probably they hope that you think, oh, they're going to send an operative out to my house to kill me or some stupid shit like that. And maybe they would do that down the road. Of course, if they came to my neighborhood to do that, they'd be big time surprised at what would happen. I mean, if something like that really truly happened, they would know they fucked up. I'm not talking about me, by the way. I'm just saying that in my neighborhood, if anyone tried to pull that bullshit, I pity the fool that would pull that bullshit in my neighborhood. So we're getting down here into 20-mile coal mine. Something that daily the net zero crowd screams about. We've got to stop coal now. We have to stop oil now. These people are so fucking insane. They do not understand. Well, if they understand what's going to happen, they want to die. That's what's going to happen. Quite honestly, they want to die. If they think that stopping fossil fuels is going to help them in any way, or is going to help this earth in any way, and they do, because they've bought the bullshit, the communist bullshit. You know, the people that came up with this, the communists that decided to get into bed with Al Gore and his crowd, who basically weaponized climate change. Al Gore is responsible for that. But I do believe that through what Al Gore did, created the opportunity for the CCP to see, or to understand that they could really make some inroads. There's a cow elk, little healthy looking cow elk, look like a horse, big as a horse. So I think Al Gore got it going, and the CCP took it from there, and I think the CCP has been running it since. Because the misinformation, the real misinformation, I mean, it's astoundingly ridiculous information. It's just bullshit. But the net zero crowd, they're just like all over it. Turn right there, we can get back into Steamboat, or we can go around Steamboat too also. So on 20 Mile, this is the first of 3 little passes. And now we've come over another ridge as we drop down into the valley where the mine was, but that's not really much of a pass. But this is more like a little pass. I mean, it's a pretty big climb. It's a steep climb. And it's about a mile of a climb. Not a huge climb, but do this on your bicycle, and you'll know what kind of a climb this is. We have 3 of these here before we get to Oak Creek at the end of County Road 27, and that's where we dump off onto 131 this morning. Every morning, obviously. You know what I mean? Maybe. So Steve Milloy is a really good guy to listen to on X. He's a popular guy. And then we have Tony Heller. I've followed Tony Heller for a long time. I'm a big fan of Tony Heller's. Even though he chewed me out a couple weeks ago on X and made me all butthurt. I was sad. My idol, my idol turned around and punched me in the face. But let me tell you a little bit about Tony Heller if you don't know much about him. He is a geologist, but he's beyond a geologist. He's a smart guy, all the people that I'm talking about are extremely smart people. They are the sharp sticks in the bundle, right? Tony Heller has done a lot of computer work. So even though he may be a geologist, he's probably at home with computer science, data modeling, heavy math type stuff. I think he's pretty good with all that stuff. But he's been an advocate, and I think in my opinion, he's the most important person in the truth movement for climate. What the doomers call the deniers, those are the people that actually want to apply science and honesty to what's going on. So Tony Heller has been consistently for years putting up the actual original data that, by the way, is in print, in actual physical print. That's a big deal, because the climate doomers in the know understand that print will show them to be the liars that they are. Now, they try to combat that by saying, oh, those old timers don't know how to take temperature measurements. I think that's quite funny. The same old timers that invented the modern world without the computer, using a slide rule and a piece of paper, or an abacus, or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's our second pass. We have one more to do. And probably the largest pass will be the next one. I think they actually they do. And if I recall, we go from, I think it's, the next pass is tops out about 8,100, I think, 8,000 feet. This pass topped out at about 7,600 feet, the one we just got over. And the first pass topped out at about 7,200 feet. So we're going up larger and larger mountains as we get closer to Oak Creek, the town of Oak Creek. Then we're going over Trout Creek. It's looking beautiful right now. And this is the start of our last climb over the top to Oak Creek and the end of 20 Mile. You didn't see the start of 20 Mile. Not that impressive. I mean, where I jumped on it, it starts getting pretty. But right here, it's beautiful. Pine trees, everything's pretty up here. Well, the power lines are kind of a distraction, but I like the fact that we have them here. I mean, it's an important thing. So it's a little bit visually yucky, but it's not nearly as bad as a freaking windmill. One of the ridiculous gigantic windmills that apparently the taxpayers are forced to subsidize, whether they like it or not. So Tony Heller is really important. He's extremely important. I hope he's taking care of himself, because he needs to keep doing what he's doing for at least another couple of decades. Well, let's hope we can win. We need some wins. We need to see Trump become elected, and he needs to rule with an iron fist this time around. It might happen. I don't know. You know, that the steal is afoot. But also, the knowledge of the steal is gaining every day as more and more court cases are popping up. They can't keep them down. You know, eventually this is going to come out, and I don't think they even give a crap if it comes out eventually. They just don't want it to come out soon enough to change the result, which they were successful. You know, they were able to steal the election from Trump and keep him down for 4 years. Now they are trying to steal it again, but we are so much more informed than we were. Back in 2020, that I think we might have a fighting chance. We might. We know what they did. We know what they're up to. We know what they're trying to do. People are watching them, and there will be people watching on election day everywhere. So I think that we have the best chance we're ever going to have to right this sinking ship, you know, that the communists are trying to sink. They've damn near done it. But they haven't done it yet. So anyway, and part of fighting back is what we're talking about. Fighting the climate doomers, the liars, the people that are trying to shut coal and oil down. They are doing everything they can, short of nuclear war, but I'm sure they would be entirely happy. Oh man, we must have had some blowdowns last night. It was really windy yesterday up here. It was really windy. And I've noticed that when you have leaves on a highway like that, there was typically a log or several, you know, fallen trees. Kind of funny, the last time that I followed a car down this road at this speed, I was in the tracker and I was behind somebody that was trying to race me. And I thought, okay, let's see how fast this dude can go. So I was staying up with him quite well. This is similar. This guy's pushing it. So am I. Now this guy's good. He's not using his brakes. Okay, he just used his brakes a little bit. Could be the same guy. That would be funny. Much better. That was fun. Okay, turn the heat down a little bit. 74:14. I'm 74:48 here. So within 30 feet of what they have. Whether I'm more accurate or they're more accurate is a reasonable question, I do believe. I used to stop here at Select Supermarket but I do not do that anymore. We are in Oak Creek, by the way. We are now on 131. I was finishing up, well, talking a little bit about Tony Heller. But Tony Heller, he puts videos out, and he also on X, he puts out the data that the doomers are falsifying and hiding and altering. I mean, falsifying and altering, I guess, would be the same thing, right? So he's an important, very important guy. And I'm glad he's doing what he's doing. Anyway, I'm a big fan of his. Like I said, he chewed me out a couple of weeks ago. I made a comment talking about alternative energy. And he was saying alternative energy sucks because it can never be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I agree with that, but I was also making a bit of a different point of view, which was, you know, my point was, even if alternative energy could compete, you know, like dollar for dollar, if it could compete dollar for dollar with conventional energy, it still couldn't be 24/7. So that was my take, and he got cranky with me. Well, I'm assuming cranky. You know, I really didn't see the tone of his voice, but he says, that's crap because, I mean, paraphrasing, he said, that's crap because this stuff can never be 24/7. Well, I wasn't arguing that, but I was saying that even if it were really super efficient, it still wouldn't compete with fossil fuels. But there's something that I haven't said about that, did say about that, but that I should say, and that is small scale alternative energy can certainly be worth it. But you have got to have a situation where the energy that you're using isn't something that if this solar gadget quit working, that it would you know, it wouldn't hobble your power consumption. You would have a source that would back it up. So I guess what I'm saying is that in some cases you can use alternative energy and save money, and you can use it to save power. I mean, if whatever you want to do. So it is certainly useful, but you've got to be realistic about it. It will not replace fossil fuels. That it just doesn't have the ability to do that. You know, now maybe someday you will be able to, from a couple minutes of the wind or the sun or whatever it might be, you might have a system that, as long as you're able to store the energy, that is extremely important. But you might have a system that could actually be capable of providing all of your power needs. But that is a long way off. And unless, you know, I think that maybe hydrogen production might have a role in something like that, because Well, okay, if you were to take today a solar system, right, or a solar photovoltaic system that, I don't know, capable of 10 kilowatts, that's going to be a pretty big solar system. One panel can do you 50 or 100. Let's say if one panel will make you 100 watts of power, 10 panels will make you 1,000 watts, 100 panels will make you 10 kilowatts. But that 10 kilowatts is only going to happen when the sun is shining, and for the performance, I mean, depending on how much you oversize it, will depend on whether you can get 10 kilowatts on a cloudy day or not. And as soon as it's dark, your stuff is junk. It's nothing. So you have got to have the ability. Wow, I'm glad to see that. I thought I hit a bird, but he actually got away. You have got to have the ability to store that power somehow. So it's damn near impossible. You know, Tony Heller is entirely right. But so am I. I wasn't arguing with Tony Heller. I was just phrasing it in a different way, and he took it a little bit wrong. I think whatever. He's certainly entitled to be grumpy about stuff, and he's entitled to dislike alternative energy if he wants to. But it can be a good thing. But you've got to be practical and realistic with it. It is not the silver bullet that these people. Well, for starters, we don't need a silver bullet. That's fallacy number one. The climate is not broken. And fallacy number two, fossil fuels are not destroying the climate. And I'll get into that when I move on to the next person. So you've got to be realistic with alternative energy, because it really is not very capable right now. There are times, if you have a specific use for it, where it could be a good fit for you, but it is not going to, it cannot compete. And I don't see it able to compete until it becomes more efficient, much more efficient. And the storage issue is solved. It has to be solved. But anyway, if you're on Twitter, or if you've never heard of Tony Heller, he is a real good resource, real good guy. Just don't get him mad at you, because then you'll be butthurt like I was. Like, oh, my hero hates me. Flat tops are looking beautiful today. Actually, everything's looking pretty out here today. I'm not even in a rush to get through this valley today. It's so pretty here. Boy, I don't know. You know what I think? I think we're going to take the trough road this morning. That way I can tour down 131 to the Colorado River. Call that a video. Maybe. It might be the video today. I don't know if I want to shoot a video on a trough road, because this camera mount's going to be awfully shaky on that rough road. And if they're putting This is Tuesday. Oh man, I don't know if I want to risk that. Yeah, I don't want to risk that. They put mag chloride on the road this time of day. No, I don't even want to risk that. I'm not going to do that. Never mind. I will do something different. Yeah, we'll go over Gore Pass this morning. Anyway, I'm still talking about people. So another, I think, up and coming, actually, he's been around for a long time. Well, it's a bizarre thing. There's a kid out there, he's 21, I think. Just a kid. He is, like I said, all the people that I'm talking about are incredibly smart. Chris Martz, M-A-R-T-Z. His handle on Twitter is at Chris Martz, M-A-R-T-Z, W-X. So all one word, Chris Martz, W-X. C-H-R-I-S, M-A-R-T-Z, W-X. That dude is a force to be reckoned with. He is I would imagine that from what I've seen in my time on this earth, that kid is a real high IQ kid. He's probably a genius. And there are not too many real geniuses around, but I believe he is. He is, for a 21-year-old guy, I mean, and that's the mark of intelligence, actually. I mean, if you're 21, but you can not only compete on the playing field of people that are 50 or 60, but you can kick their asses, you're one smart guy. Or girl, whatever. Finger Rock is that monolith right up there. I think it's a big chunk of basalt. It could be rhyolite. I don't know. There we go. This little valley's pretty high. We're about a little over 8,000 feet right now. And you've seen all the cool volcanic features. I am not talking about them today. I'm talking about, you know, the people on X that I think are making a difference. Chris Martz he's going to college. He's getting some type of weather degree, meteorology, I guess would be the right term, degree. I'm not sure what the degree is, but the kid has access to all the data that he needs to counter any claim and every claim made by a climate doomer. And not only that, this kid is like a one-person wrecking crew. I mean, he's impressive. He's got a big following on Twitter. He probably makes a shitload of money on Twitter. I mean, yeah, I would assume he can. I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. I think he's got 30,000 followers or more, maybe even, and more every day, because he's the real deal. In a room full of climate doomer, ridiculous bullshit voices, Chris Martz stands above everyone. You know, he does. And he looks up to Tony Heller. And I like that. I mean, he's a good kid. You know, he'll argue with you. You would not know his age by his arguments. The guy is well-rounded. For a 21-year-old, he's got, I mean, in my opinion of the guy, he has all of the right qualities to do whatever he wants to do as long as he wants to do it. And he is a good guy. He's a based guy. I'm assuming he might, you know, believe in God. I wouldn't call him a zealot, but he is a warrior, man. He takes climate doomers down. I mean, it's impressive. It's impressive to watch him work. And I commented a couple of weeks ago that you know, Chris Martz makes climate doomers wet their pants and run to mama. You know, and he does. They do not like him, man. They hate him, and it's a badge of honor. It kind of sucks that they're that way, though. But that's what the left does. The left bullies people. They try to, whatever they can get to win, they don't care. They have absolutely no sense of fairness. But that's what separates conservatives from leftists. We will not stoop to any level to win. They will. That's why they will always be more powerful. But that doesn't mean that they'll always win. You know, maybe we have more going for us on our side. That meets the eye. You know, because we certainly do. We make a trade-off by not going, you know, by not racing to the bottom with the leftists. We handicap ourselves. Like I said, maybe we have, you know, maybe we have a secret power or a special power that they don't have. Because they don't win. They do not win all of their battles. We are now closing in on the little town of Taponis. By the way, we just went through Yampa a little bit ago, and Phippsburg, and I didn't mention that. Anyway, if you're a doomer, if you're a climate doomer, and you make some ridiculous statement, and Chris Martz replies to you, you better hold on to your ass, because you're getting ready to get reamed. And you're going to get so reamed that the only thing you have left, you have no integrity left. You've lost any kind of self-worth. The only thing that you have left after Chris Martz kicks your ass with the facts is you have a sniveling pile of hatred and cowardice. And what you're going to do is you're going to call him a bad name, or you're going to threaten him. That's all you have. You have you'll get your ass utterly reamed by that guy. Poor little creature. I don't think I hit him, but I couldn't tell. There was a little prairie dog on the road that was laying there. He may have been hit. He may not have been hit because he got up and ran. You probably missed all of this, but Anyway, we're now on Highway 134. And we are heading to the entrance to Gore Pass. We're a lot like, this is a lot like the altitude in North Park. Similar weather. We're 8,300 feet here. So where are you going? So Chris Martz is one to watch. He's a warrior, man. He's a, like I said, there are no dummies that are countering the climate tards, you know, the doomers. The people that are countering them can intellectually run circles around them all day, including me. Well, including a lot of people. I mean, they're useful idiots. They bought in to a ridiculous ideology that's actually a political movement. If they know it, if they know that that's what they bought into, they knowingly wipe their own memory. They knowingly brainwash themselves, and they drop it. They act. It's a very interesting thing to do, to say to yourself, although I am more intelligent than this, I'm still going to join this ideology, and I will, for the sake of the leaders of this movement, I will defer any complex thought to them, and I will not have any thoughts in my head that will be contrary to the message, right? Because that's really what you would have to do that. So anyway, yeah, Chris Martz is one to watch. He's a good guy. He'll probably go far, and he should. And yeah, but I mean, he's not only that, but he actually works for a living. You know, he's going to college right now, but he actually works for a living. I think that's damn impressive. He's not scared of work, and yeah, I think he's doing landscaping. Last video I watched of him, I think this morning he had a video, he was putting string on a weed whacker, getting ready to cut some grass. Anybody that is not afraid of hard work, in my opinion, that's an incredibly important thing in this world. When you see people that run from work, it's a sign, you know. When you see people that hate their parents, that's another sign. Sometimes your parents are probably bad and you should hate them. But I've noticed that people on the left typically hate their parents. I bet you Chris Martz does not hate his parents. I don't hate my parents. But I've seen enough, you know, to understand a lot of these things. The last guy that I want to talk about is Latimer Alder from the UK. Good guy. He's more of a philosopher. However, before I do that, I want to make the point that when I argue with the climate doomers, I do not get in to the specifics. I don't have the specifics in front of me. And so my arguments are a little bit larger, like they're larger than the individual lines of math or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm more sort of a philosophical warrior, climate doomer warrior. And I occasionally make these climate doomers wet their pants and run to mama. Occasionally. Because I don't give up. Now, I don't resort to lying, but I do not give up. Well, I take that back. I've given up on a couple people. But I typically don't give up. Sometimes people they're crazier than me. The people that are crazier than me, more obsessed than me, they typically can wear me down. I finally go, I'm tired. I have to stop. So when I make an argument, I characterize the weather as normal. I believe the weather is variable, and it could be cooling or it could be warming. I don't have the data, and I don't claim to have the data to know exactly what the weather's doing. And I wanted to bring that up because Chris Martz has got the data. He understands what's going on, and he has an opinion. He thinks that the Earth is warming a little bit right now. And he also believes, and I think this is a fair thing, he believes that the activities that we do could influence the weather. I completely agree with that. Because anything that we do, you look at it in a mathematical sense. Anything that I do, if I light a fire, if I start a fire, burn that wood, all that dead wood over there, I'm going to add a bunch of heat to the atmosphere. Now, at the end of the day, it will be an insignificant amount of heat, but it's still a factor. And it kind of points out just how difficult it really is to understand weather, because all of the things that are happening on this earth, the billions of people, the billions of animals, the geologic processes that are going on, there are things happening all the time. And to really be able to say, oh, well, we are causing, the weather to break by what we're doing, you really need a lot of information to be able to make a statement like that. When you understand the variables, you understand how foolish it is for anyone to say, oh yeah, certainly we are. Well, now what you can say, though, is that the activities that we have done, the industrial activities, have added a certain amount of heat to the atmosphere and a certain amount of gas, pollution, whatever. So we have certainly changed the numbers. I think in Chris Martz's opinion, he says maybe we have added a little bit to global, the heating that's going on, or the cooling that's going on, or whatever. We are adding something to this dynamic system. And it's going to change the figures somehow. I mean, mathematically it will. It may just be such a small amount that it means nothing. I think that's probably the case. But another way to look at this too is that, let's say we could figure everything out like that. Everything that we've done, everything that every person has done, we can account for every match that was lit on this spreadsheet and say, oh yeah, well here's the climate today. Oh yeah, Wes Harper lit a match. Yeah, Wes Harper. He lit a match here, and look there it is right there. That would be cool to be able to do that. But how many people talk about this and think about it this way? Let's run the scenario without fossil fuels. Okay, fine, no fossil fuels. So instead of driving, if I'm driving, maybe I'm not, but instead of going through this forest, there's a pretty good chance that this is going to be a stripped barren hill with no trees on it. And there might be people living up here. So I think that when we start to say fossil fuels are so bad, I think you need to go back and make the case that are they better or worse than what would have been if we would have just continued burning wood? Where does that put us in relation to where we are today? Did we do more damage to the earth or less damage to the earth? Because today there are more trees than there were 100 years ago. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, there are a lot of forests that need to be thinned too. But to make the argument that shutting fossil fuels down is the only way to save this climate that nobody knows, no one can, let me put it this way, no one can prove this climate is broken. The way that the doomers are characterizing it. Not only that, the way that the doomers are characterizing the heat, this has been the hottest year in 10,000 years, 1,000 years. That's bullshit. That's utter, complete bullshit. The doomers have attached themselves to another graph somewhere that is giving them, actually they should be thinking about what they're doing, because what they're doing by saying this is the hottest weather in whatever many years, they are exposing themselves. I mean, almost like they're just pulling their pants down and showing us their dick. That's how badly they're exposing themselves to their lies. Because we can see, we are out in the climate. We can tell that the climate is not any hotter than it's been. This has been, it's bullshit. This spring and last year have been quite cool. You don't hear that from the climate doomers because that's not part of the message, but that is the fact. That those are the facts. There's probably still snow up here. By the way, we're getting to the east side of Gore Pass, and it is beautiful up here. And we probably still have snow. We're at 9,000 feet. Yeah, we still have snow up here in the shade. So we'll probably see a little bit of it. But the snow is going. Those guys just don't have any fear. I'm talking about the prairie dogs. They're not really prairie dogs. Can't remember the name of these little creatures. Anyway, when I argue with people, I agree with Chris Martz, but I will tend to say that the weather is just doing its normal thing. It's going in and out of whatever cooling and warming cycles that it just normally does. And I think that's a fair assessment, especially if you consider that the contributions that we make or that we don't make to this earth should be looked at not as foreigners who have invaded this earth, but as part of this earth. We are part of this earth. We're not foreigners that have invaded. We are made of this earth. And when we are done with our bodies will go back to this earth. So when I say the weather is normal and whatever changes are the changes that normally happen, I understand that. We are not, like I said, we're not invaders. We are part of this planet. We are part of the weather. We are part of the earth. I mean, we are as much part of this planet as everything else is here. The climate doomers do not want you to think about that. They want you to think you're an invader and that we have colonialized, right? You know, in a bad way, like the bad meaning of colonialized. You know, colonial, I guess would be the term. Not colonized, but colonialized. This earth. But that's bullshit. We are part of this earth. We are this earth, and this earth is us. I am you, and you are I. Am I guess. Whatever, I don't know how you want to get silly about it, but anyway. So I think that in that sense, anything that we do needs to be looked at as a natural occurrence, because we are part of nature. Not only that, we are a creature that does not have much fur on us, obviously. We have, we're kind of hairless. I imagine that cats and dogs and hairy creatures that see us naked go, man, well, that's why they wear clothes, because they look all weird when they're just all, shaved down, skinny, down to their skin. So we have, let me put it this way. Nature has built in to this system the need for humans to use resources that, by the way, nature provides to stay warm and to stay cool and to stay shaded from the sun, and obviously food. So we are, I mean, it's definitely a 70s thing. Yeah, man, we're one with nature, man. But we really are one with nature. And you don't have to be, like in a Zen mood, sitting with your legs crossed, wearing your beaded shirt, listening to a zitar or whatever, and smoking some sort of funky looking Eastern pipe, and probably smoking some sort of mind-bending drug to be one with nature. That's silly. We are one with nature whether we like it or not. You could be sitting in a big loader, a big machine that looks foreign to everything here, running it. But what really is happening? There's a person in this loader. This person is made of the earth. Again, that person running that loader will go back to the earth. That loader is made of everything that came from this earth. That loader is not made of anything that us human beings brought from another universe. We are not invaders. That loader is just as much part of the earth as we are. So are the rubber tires. So are the nasty chemicals that have been modified until they're, like horribly nasty and toxic or whatever. They were made of the stuff that this earth is made of. And this earth made us, or the creator of this earth made us, and our thing is that's what we do. And we have got no choice to do that. If you think about it, if we want to live all over this earth, if we had decided, and I guess we have the ability to, if we have decided, well, we're just going to live where it's warm, and that's all, we're never going to use fire for heat, or for tool making, and we're not going to worry about clothes, then we'd be a bunch of naked people hanging out in the tropics, and that would be it. So, but we're not. You know, we have the ability to think, do, to build, to create, you know, to modify. But everything that we do is part of nature. We can't separate it from nature. Not for very long anyway. Like, okay, we can take that loader, we can mine some rocks, we can break those rocks down into steel, we can add a few more elements to that, elements that, by the way, we got from the earth somewhere else, or maybe the same place. We can make fire, which fire is a thing of this earth. It's part of this earth. It's part of the physics of the world. We make this metal. We cast it using things that we made from this earth, all part of this earth, and we make it into this metal. We make it into this other thing that is useful. And we go about with this other thing that we made of the earth, and we move parts of the earth around here and there. We pile parts up, we dig down into them. That's our existence, that's what we do. But we do that for a reason. We do that because we really do need shelter. We really do need relief from the sun. We really do need relief from the cold or the heat, and the heat. And the only way that the people that don't live in the perfect climate are going to get that is by using fuel. So when people are making their pronouncements that fossil fuels are so bad, well, they're part of the earth too. We're all part of the earth. The smog in California in the 70s, part of the earth. Check that out. Look at that. That is really interesting. That is moisture. Yeah. Oh, neat. How cold is it here? It's chilly. It looks warm, but it's probably in the 30s still outside. So I know I'm really going off the reservation, so to speak, with that, but I'm really not. I'm trying to describe the way that I argue with these climate doomers, and the reason that I believe that weather is natural and it is not broken is because it's doing what it's always done. It has not deviated substantially in any way from what it's always done. It has always warmed and it has always cooled. It just depends on what the planet's doing. You know, the planet goes through ice ages. The planet goes through some serious upheavals. The weather plays along. I mean, it all works in concert. The heck was that thing? Like a thing on the side of the road. I caught my eye. Okay, that's by this house. Okay. Okay, I know where it's at. So, if we hadn't had fossil fuels, like look at these houses out here spread around in the valley up here. If we didn't have fossil fuels, do you think there'd be any trees around here? And if we cut all the trees down in the world, you hear people bitching about the trees in South America being cut down. What if we did cut all the trees down and burn them? What if we did? What's that going to do to the weather? I have a feeling that the earth can react to an endless variety of what we would call disasters. But that would certainly be a disaster, wouldn't it? What would that do to the weather if there were no trees at all? Would it be hotter? Would it be colder? So how do you make that calculation? And how do you do it credibly? So until we have extreme deviations, they're going to have to be extreme. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make any sense. And the variety of weather we have is no larger. It's actually smaller than the variety of weather we used to have. At least right now. Now that may change in the next few years. Probably will. Everything changes. So when I argue with doomers, I don't get into the minutia that Chris Martz gets into, but I'm glad he does. And I don't disagree with what he has to say. I just have a little bit of a different take on it. I'm looking at it in a more philosophical manner, right? Less of a mathematical manner, because I don't have that data in front of me. Why would I even attempt to do that? He has the data in front of him, and at the end of the day, his opinions are pretty much the same as my opinions. A little bit of difference, but not much. Because I do agree, everything that we do in this world is a plus or a negative, energy-wise. And it gets tallied somewhere. The question is, the two questions. Have the things we done tallied enough difference to disrupt a natural cycle? Or, my contention is, we are part of the natural cycle. And on top of that, the natural cycle, if it has been disrupted by what we've done, we can't really even tell. There's no link. There's no CO2 temperature link. Or if there is, you can make a stronger link by turning it around, by saying that CO2 follows temperature. It actually makes a little bit more sense that way. But neither one of those are anything you could hang your hat on, right? And on top of that, if like I said, if we were to go back and say, well, what if we would have done things differently? Let's do that calculation. How do things score right now? Where are we as people on this planet in 2024 if we would have never used fossil fuels, or for that matter, never used fire, or if we did use fire? So the variables are crazy, and the idea that it doesn't change the idea that nature built us with the innate. We can't get rid of it. Necessity to stay cool, to stay warm, to be clothed, to be sheltered, and to be fed. And everything that we do is based on that. And that's another issue I have with the climate doomers. We are simply creatures doing the best we can do to survive and to help other people survive. That is simply all we're doing. We're not out there raping the earth to rape the earth, right? They want to say that we're digging a hole, we're raping the earth. Okay, go ahead and say that, but why are we doing that? For everything that I just mentioned. We need to eat, we need shelter, we need warmth, we need cool, and we've come up with a system that works pretty well. But the system is dependent on us using fossil fuels so that we can go to places to get food, to get shelter, to get clothing, to get resources, and to come home. Well, anyway, so that's how I wanted to end with Chris Martz, because he's the numbers guy, And he will kick your ass with numbers, climate doomers. I'm just letting you know. But he is your friend. You might think he's your enemy, but he's your friend. He's trying to help this world. So am I. So is Tony Heller. And so is Latimer Alder. He's the last guy that I have on my menu to talk about today. And I saved him for last because I wanted to talk about the way that I argue with doomers, and that I'm a bit more philosophical than mathematical. Well, he is a lot more. What are we doing here? Alrighty, we are now leaving Highway 134. We are back on Highway 40, and we're about 6 miles, I think, north of Kremmling. So that sign told me. So, let me get up to ramming speed here. By the way, we got a lot of, oh, it's cold here, man. I think we have some ice in the air today or something. It's cold up here. So Latimer Alder is probably the most philosophical of the climate warriors, the truth, the people that are fighting the doomers, the communists. And his opinion and his take on it is I think it's a little different than mine. He might be even a little bit closer to Chris Martz, because he says, so what's so bad about this warming that's going on? Things are greener, you know. We have more food. We have more, you know, plant life benefits directly from the CO2, right? I mean, just going along with what they're saying, okay, if it's warmer and there's more CO2, the plant life is actually, and it is greening, that is a fact. Our Earth is greening. And I think that's a great thing. So he's like the willow, you know, the willow that will bend in the wind. But he's making an important argument. He is basically saying, what's the problem? There is no problem. Everyone is healthier. Well, other than the people that eat the wrong food. You know, the world is cleaner. More people have energy than ever before. Although Africa still needs, there's millions of people that need energy in Africa that aren't getting it. And a big reason they're having a hard time getting it is because of the climate doomers that are in government. They've decided that the people in Africa don't deserve energy. It's such bullshit. The double standards of these rotten fucks. Anyway, but I digress to a cussing fit. Anyway, that's how Latimer Alder takes on the climate doomers, and he's hated also. I'm going to include myself in this bunch of people because I'm hated also. You know, I have a bit more of a confrontational style than Latimer Alder. I am similar to Chris Martz and to Tony Heller. But like I say, I try to stay on the more philosophical argument I don't want to get down into the weeds because I don't have the data in front of me, and it's a fruitless argument, really. The only people that should get down into the weeds are people like Chris Martz and Tony Heller. And so anyway, wow, I don't think I even hit that guy. I hope I didn't hit him. I didn't feel it. He didn't look like he was hit. The wind may have rolled him though. I think that may be what I saw. So I like what Latimer Alder's doing because he's like I said, he's the willow in the wind. He's bending and it's saying, okay, fine. You know, have it your way. Let's say global warming is everything you say it is, but let's stop and look at it realistically, because and his point is you guys are exaggerating to extreme proportions what you're talking about. And of course we all are saying that. That is the whole point, because that's what they are doing. They are exaggerating to insanely extreme proportions. Okay. I got some dusty brakes here. Interesting. All right, I'll be back. If this is the end of the video, well, it is. So, have fun, take care. I will see you later. Goodbye.